So I'm really happy because my girlfriend just was in Britain, Great Britain, in fact. And she brought me some tea. So I'm really happy. It's some really fresh, nice, strong tea. Hi, I'm Christian, and this is Lazy Devs. And today we are going to still be working in our breakout tutorial thing. Last time around, we kind of like discussed some feedback we got from our beta stuff, beta playtesting session. And now I want to implement I want to fix one of the bugs. Load hero 1. Bunch of stuff that we have to fix. One thing is something I was terrified. I was terrified when I saw. I was like, oh no. And this is this part. Ball gets stuck. Let me show you the images again. Can I show you? Is it possible? It's possible. Look. See this? This is the biggest nightmare, the greatest nightmare I have as a game developer, where game work flawlessly, no problems with collision detection. I give it to playtesting. One of my playtesters comes back and gives me an error, a mistake, a wrong thing, errant behavior of the game that I haven't witnessed myself. This is bad, and because there's a concept in programming called, I guess I cannot make what I want to talk about is replicating errors. If there is somebody says there's a bug, there's a problem, you want to replicate that problem and consistently as well. You want to press a button and make that bug appear, so you can fix the bug, right? Because so we can see what's happening. But I played through the entire game and I haven't seen this bug. Whoa, this is scary. This is super scary. I cannot replicate this problem. And neither could my playtester. It just happened randomly, but then he played through the game and it didn't happen. So, oh, dang. What are we going to do? But clearly, so the bug was stuck on this level. So this gives me an idea. And I actually did some investigation. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? I actually did it not during this this tutorial because I wasn't sure if this will actually work. But it worked. So here's what I did. So I created a debug mode that allows me to place the ball at a very specific point in the level and actually also ignoring collision detection and then let it fly. Dubuk. It's a new type of music, dubuk. Dubuk step. Remember dubstep? Man, those were times. Okay. It's an older version, but it still checks out. Okay, so this is us, and then when I press this button, no, not this button, this button, no, we get in debug mode, and I can move the ball freely around, and then I press it again, it flies. Cool, right? I know it's cool. Okay, so this allows me now to go to a different level. Let's go to a different level. Maybe I already fixed the problem. That would be embarrassing. Oh, I finished the game. Did I fix the problem? Yeah, I fixed the problem. Don't look now. This is because this is the fix for the problem. Oh, you didn't see anything. You didn't see anything. Okay. Let me see that. Okay, one more time. Once more into the breach. Excellent game, by the way. I was very addicted recently. Okay, so we're gonna go to the level that is the offending level. And this is this level. Okay. So now we are still in debug mode. We're gonna move the ball at the position. Oh no, I pressed the wrong button. I'm not supposed to press X. I'm pressing this button. Okay, gotcha, fam. Okay, so here we are. Not pressing X, pressing this instead. Okay, pressing it one more time. Okay, doesn't work. There we go. God damn it, what's happening here? So I actually did some thinking and investigation. I think what is happening here is, do we have a mouse? We don't have a mouse. So you see how there is like a gap between the indestructible blocks and the edge of the screen? You see those gaps? I think what happens, the gap is like exactly the right size for some reason for the ball to get stuck in between. So it's kind of like this scene from Austin Powers where it's like when it just cannot get out because it's just like the ball is perfectly flush with one edge and the other, and that causes troubles. That causes a situation where the ball cannot out. It just constantly bounces back and forth in between, and yeah, and there's because the way we did the collision detection, you remember perhaps. Let me do paint. You love it when I do the paint. You admit it. You just love it when I do this. Okay. So the way we do collision detection is, you know, we actually did the collision detection in a way that would actually usually avoid this, right? When you have a thing, right? And let's say you have your ball, and the ball is like stuck in here, right? Like it's like stuck inside the let's say it's here, like it's stuck inside the brick. But actually, you know, it's moving in this direction. So, you know, it would bounce off the inner walls and just bounce around in the brick. That would be like the regular collision detection. But the way we did the collision detection now, you know, like this. But the way that we did collision detection now is that the ball, when it moves in this direction, it only checks against this edge and this edge. It doesn't check against these edges. So it never actually we would be able to get stuck in a brick like this. So this is not what is happening. What is instead happening is we have our ball like here between this edge and another edge. Oops, maybe a different color. So it's stuck like here, something like this. And you know, you might be looking like, hey, but visually it doesn't seem like it. You know, visually it seems like the gap is not. Is a bit narrower, so the ball wouldn't fix. So that's why I'm actually also confused by this. Not exactly sure why. What I can imagine is maybe that the gap is actually narrower. And what is happening is that the ball can still like gets stuck like this. You know, it's still stuck like this. So it's kind of like bouncing here instead of like being like actually wedged in between there. So it's kind of like here, you know, like this. Bad. How are we going to solve this? So as I said in a previous episode, I want to have like two-pronged approach. First, I want to solve this specific problem, so this doesn't actually happen anymore. What else? Then I also want to cover other situations that would be similar to this. Maybe there's other situation like this where the ball gets stuck in a different way. So if this ever happens, if the ball gets stuck on the screen somewhere colliding all the time, I want a recovery function that kind of notices that the ball gets stuck and recovers the ball somehow. So let's do the first. Let's solve this specific problem first. And my solution was, I actually played around with some numbers and I said, like, what if we just make the collision with edges a little bit less lenient? So the edges kind of bring the edges a little bit closer. So the gap between the edges of the screen and the indestructible bricks is a little bit closer. So what I changed just now was like a collision box that is designed to kind of that we use when we check the collision between the ball and the edges of the screen. Okay. When I did it the first time, it always jumps back for some reason. Okay. Whoop. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Don't press the X. The X is bad. It's a bad button. You know, it's kind of like a very hacked interface that I used here. So you gotta bear with me here a little bit. So see, now it flew off. I mean, that's bad that it flew off, but we don't have this problem anymore. At least it didn't get stuck. See, it seems to be more. It flies off, but it doesn't actually get stuck. I want to see. Yeah, it's. So now it's going in this direction. Let's see if we can get it stuck now. Yeah, it ignores collisions now. It doesn't get stuck like this anymore. The gap is too small for it to wedge itself in like this. And I did some testing here, and actually the collision detection is super robust. The ball never, like, I haven't seen the ball get stuck in different situations. So this was really just like a weird edge case that we just didn't deal with. Just making sure that it doesn't get stuck here as well. But nope. It's fine. It's doing fine. Okay, so this is one solution. But the second solution I want to also be dealing with here is, so how are we going to detect this? How are we going to make sure that this is not something that, that actually happens? Or to be more specific, how are we going to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore? Let's see. So what I thought about is adding some more additional information to the ball. One is kind of like a counter that goes up whenever we spend a frame colliding, like when we spend 2 frames after each other collided. That suggests to me that maybe the ball is stuck somewhere. So let's first try to do this counter. And then we're going to make sure that the counter doesn't fire accidentally when the ball actually just like bounces around very, very, very crazily. So, let's see. Where are we going to do this? Oh man, I haven't been programming this in a while. This is a bit of a challenge. Let's see. Where are we creating a ball? Surf ball. That seems like nice. Okay, we're creating a new ball here. Okay, here's new ball. So what I'm going to do is b dot call count. And we're gonna call it 0. And the call count is the thing that will count up. And then we're gonna also call last, but that's gonna be nil. By the way, I've been in some recent programming. I learned a lot how to conserve tokens. And some of the things I'm seeing here are rough stuff. But that's fine. It's good. You know, that's one of the things. Like once you start programming something really a lot, you get better and better at it. Okay, so this is good. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. We're now also copying it. If you copy the ball, now something I want to do now is I want to actually first see if the call count goes up. First, I want to make it maybe go up. Let's make it go up first. One thing after another. So new collision. Pad RAM check. Okay. Okay, so here's where we're colliding. Ooh, such a good tea. Oh. So see if there's collision. So if there's collision, so if number of collision is 0, we just move no collisions. And this is also where we go my ball dot call count equals 0. Call count, right? Call count. And also this is where we're gonna reset the call. This is also where we're gonna reset the call last. My ball is equals nil. Easy, right? This is where if there is no collision, the ball just alright. Off you go. Off you do your thing. And if there is collision, then I'm thinking maybe doing this inside the collision function. Yeah. So we're gonna go my ball like this. B call count plus equals 1. We add 1 to call count. And then the call last, well, this is something that we only want to save if we're actually colliding between bricks. Only if there's a brick that we collided with. Just want to make sure, because I want to keep track which brick we collided with. For cases where we created a channel made out of bricks, and if the ball is flying fast enough through this channel, we might actually trigger this function, right? So I want to make sure that I remember which brick I collided last frame, just in case So if I notice that it keeps colliding with the same brick, then I can assume that it got stuck. But if it's colliding with new bricks, then I'm fine with it colliding multiple times per turn. Like multiple turns after each other. So actually, yeah, so let's go like this. Yeah, okay, let's go here. Call count +1. Yeah, that's good. And then if we collide it with a brick collision, there we go. So if B call last, is it call last or call last? Call last, okay. Gotta remember my variables. Okay, if this is nil, so we haven't set it to anything, then we set it else, and so if it's set to nothing, then we're gonna remember this collision with this brick. Do we know which brick it is? Yeah, we know. See, this is great. Else, if the last collision is with a different brick, then and so if that happens, we just want to, oh my gosh, look at those tokens melting away. Whew. I'm glad that I still have the playtest tracking that I can get rid of. So if this happens, we're gonna go, we're gonna actually set the call counter. Like so. Okay. So this is already counting up my call count. And so now I want to actually print this. I've got to remember to actually copy this stuff later on in my full program, because this is just like debugging stuff, right? Yeah, also I want actually this problem to actually occur. So I want to actually remove my fix so I can actually reproduce the bug. So I will actually increase the gap between the indestructible bricks and the edge of the screen now, so I can actually wedge my ball in there so I can see this happening. Okay, and one last thing. So this is playtesting and tracking, and this is where I have my debug mode set up. Yeah, this will disappear very quickly. But yes. Debug mode dot b ball1 ball count. Ball1 call count. There we go. What is happening? What? Call last? This is a problem? Oh yeah, no. Okay. Going into a debug mode, pressing the bad button, the button that does the rewinding. Now moving the ball into position. Now going out of debug mode, yeah, that happens. This thing up. No, it's okay. It's fine. Okay, this didn't trigger this problem. Oh, I just noticed. I actually want the thing to appear. What? Now you suddenly don't get stuck. I think you have to be like. You have to be this tall. Yeah, there we go. But the way we're printing the debug stuff is not good. So let me print it differently. Nucleish. Update game. There we go. I'm gonna put it in here. Run. Okay. Okay, debug mode again. One big part of this episode is going to be just me messing around with my debug mode. Okay. Now moving it. Wait a minute. If I press this button now, it will reset. So now, okay, got it. Bam. See how it goes up? Good. So let me see if I can just play it normally. Yeah, you can see it going up, but it never gets like double digits or anything. Let me go to a different level and let me try to get it in here. Let's see what happens if this happens. Oh, okay, whatever. I'm gonna get it in here. Okay, yeah. No, one more time. Yeah. Yeah, you can see how this is not happening. No. Good. So the only thing I need to do now is, now that this is detecting being trapped correctly, is I want it to actually react to this problem. And I'm going to do it here in the update ball function. Let me see here. Update ball. Actually, is it good to make it an update ball function? I'm not sure. Save the speed. Okay. Yeah, this is where we are removing balls. So I'm gonna actually, yeah, I'm gonna copy this stuff. Check if the ball has enough description. And I'm gonna do the similar stuff now. Check if ball is stuck. If my ball so if it's call count. If call count, now we have to kind of like figure out. I think 100 seems like a good count, so like 2 seconds almost. So I'm gonna make it seem like it, because if the ball just disappeared, that would be weird. So there's like different things we can do right now, right? Okay, we notice the ball is stuck. What are we going to do? And I was actually, I was losing sleep. I was thinking, maybe I can do some like sophisticated, like I could track the last position of the ball where it didn't collide with stuff and rewind it. But then maybe we have to change the angle as well, so it doesn't like just directly fly into the problem area again. So, and considering how little tokens we have left, I think it's probably the best if we just okay, reset the ball. Let's just make it go back to the paddle, and it will be fine, right? So so yeah, I'm thinking like I'm gonna spawn that part because I'm gonna make it actually like go poof and appear again at the pad. So if ball is greater than 1, then delete ball. I not necessarily want to delete the ball though, right? Yeah, no, let's go delete and serve ball. Just serve a new ball. And I'm wondering, like, just making sure that if it serves the ball, it doesn't actually. Let me see, because if it serves the ball and you already have a ball attached, because it's maybe stuck to the paddle, I want to make sure that that it does a release stuck. A stuck would mean sticky ball to the paddle. Serve ball, there we go. Do we have a release stuck in here? We don't. Yeah, so let's do one. Let's do the release stuck before we do the delete. So in case this is the last ball, we don't get any troubles. Just delete and serve a new one. That's good. And we, of course, we're not going to lose any I'm not going to lose any lives for this. That would be bad. Debug mode. Pressing the bad button. Okay, now when I press this, it disappears. So I'm going to press this again. Yeah, that's good. Why do you put up with me? Why do you still watching? I'm sorry, babe. Okay. I don't deserve you, my viewers. I don't deserve you. I failed you so many times. Okay. Now don't press the bad button, press this button. It worked. It worked. I love it. It's good. Maybe 100 was a bit extreme. Let's make it 60. Just make it 1 second. 60 is a lot. Pressing the bad button. Don't press the bad button when you don't want to press the bad button. Okay. That was a good timing too. I like it. Difficult to aim it properly, but you see that works fine. See, it's great. It's great. It's good. It's good. Good. This is good. Cool. Cool beans. All right. So let us now. So this is it for this episode. I will now return everything to its proper order and remove all the debug stuff. But I'm gonna do this, like I have to now copy this stuff because this was just like a test rig, and I want to copy this into our main program, so to speak, so we can start playing around with more stuff. So I'm gonna end this episode now, and I'm gonna post like my actual final copied version, my fixed version, to the doobly-doo down in the comment section. As always, down there you can always see like the code at the end of each episode. This is gonna be the code at the end of this episode. Okay, so in the next episode, what are we going to do in the next episode? This is of course not what I wrote down. Let me open up my initial file. So this is now, the ball gets stuck, is now fixed. So next time probably we're gonna maybe deal with a score overflow. We need to save our score into two variables. That's gonna be fun. And then we're gonna just go down the list and start fixing those bugs. All right, guys. See you next time around. Bye bye.